for those who are watching, so exciting. I am so happy and honored to do this Art2Heart on Facebook Live with our dear artist, Alison Barrows Young. She's incredible. She has this new series that we published in the spring issue of Art2 International. You can see the article in the back. That's part of the article. And Alison is today here with us. Alison, how are you doing? Welcome to Art2Heart.
Thank you. I'm doing great, and it's nice to see you.
Yes. So I know you've been working on this series. Can you talk to us about the series?
Okay. So what you see behind me here is talk about these were the Sacred Water series that I did, and I guess you can see them as all three, and then I'm going to open them up so you can. I like to think of them as being something that you can open partially open, because it then it kind of brings the front and the back together, and that you can like fully open.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different sides to it and themes, and I did the three together for three different ideas. So let me just start with the first one. The first one is this one, and I called it the hope for humanity. And the reason what I was thinking of was that it's when I was thinking about the sacred water idea. At first, my first thought was to talk about or to paint about like all of the pollution and things that are happening, the droughts and the superstorms and things like that. And then I decided that that was just so very negative that I wanted to approach it from another angle. And so I decided that what I would do is I would think about it as what our potential is and where we might go in order to save the planet, which basically is what sacred water is to me, because without the water, of course, we don't exist. Nothing exists here. And so it's not really about us either. It's not about people necessarily, but I feel like people have really created an enormous problem. We're the problem. And so I wanted to start out with the idea of the potential of who we are, because we don't have to just be the way we are. We don't have to be consumers the way we're being consumers, and we don't have to let the environment go. We actually have all of these huge volume of information that has come from early times until now about how we're connected to the earth and how we can manage the earth. And so what I did was in the front, these are like angelic people, and they are wearing little virtual reality cameras like that you can wear on your face, sort of just to update the whole idea of that kind of spiritual understanding. And then when it's opened, my idea was that we have a lot of myths and a lot of information from the past that allows us to really look at the good qualities in ourselves. And so I wanted to add that in, and so I have like this mermaid, and she's got this water flow here, and that is reminiscent of a very early symbolism that is used in the tarot. That's where it's called temperance, which makes sense, right? Temperance, yeah. And the water flows constantly. And then I have this little guy because, children it's not that complicated. Children are obviously who we're thinking of, hopefully who we're thinking of, and who will forward our world. And so I wanted him to be a little African and put him with the African traditional clothing. And he's holding a compass, and he has one of those discoverers, explorers type spy glasses. So just trying to bring all that in, and other things that are important to me, the water, and of course the lotus blossom and the trees and things like that. And then down through here, I just, for me, one of the more stunning things that I experienced in my life as a child or whatever is when I listened inside a conch shell, and my father, who is actually a scientist, told me that was the sound of the ocean in there, even though what it really is the sound of myself bouncing off of it into my ear. But I love that concept, and so that's why I included that as part of this particular piece.
It's beautiful. So, I love the
thank
colors. It's so vibrant.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the colors are always important to me.
Yes.
Sometimes people ask me like what kind of painter I am, and I really don't know the answer to that, but I can say I'm a colorist.
They're beautiful.
I've done a lot of studying of color, and I've taught color. So this is the second one. And of course, my thought was that I just, while I was thinking about, what water means to people, of course, immediately you go to where there's some severe droughts and some places where people really aren't getting clean water. And the women and the girls that carry these big jugs on their head, that just seems so powerful to me. And so I wanted to start with that. So this particular one is kind of looking at the role that women can make, that I feel like it's essential that women come forward in order to create a nurturing world, that women start to take the power. And I think we all believe that, and I agree. And so this is the women with the water on their heads. And then you can open it part way and sort of see what's going on. And then fully opened.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it's just, I think that it all kind of speaks for itself, but my ideas were really the tears that we cry for the world and for our children, and the elder female with the lantern, and the goddess, and I put a little mask on her, and the mother or the woman who's going to collect water, and then of course fish are very spiritual, and so I have them in there too. And I'm not what you would call a religious person. I was raised as in the Episcopalian Roman Catholic combo, but oh yeah, and the turtle for Native American, the Turtle Island where we live, the earth is Turtle Island. And so yeah, so I'm not like religious in that way, but I have that kind of imagery really speaks to me in a very deep way because of my youth and being with my grandmother, and and all of the kind of imagery that's in the Roman Catholic Church, and stained glass windows and all those things. So I find them very awesome, like in the real way of thinking of awesome, like they fill my soul. And so that's what I'm doing when I try to create it this way. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just like mesmerized by the works. I really am.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. I love the imagery is very strong. Like you chose these very strong images.
Thank you.
you're presenting them like, holy creatures, like divine creatures.
That's right. That's right. And
Very strong. Yeah.
the I didn't really well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. So this one, of course, this one does speak to some of the things that are really troubling to me about that we may lose on the earth, and that has to do with water. And of course, a lot of people will say that there's no global warming because why would it be so cold if there was global warming? But actually, the reason for that is because the Arctic cap is melting, and basically it's like having an air conditioner on the top of the earth, or the bottom, I suppose, if you live in Australia. So so they have the icebergs in the Arctic, and then the Parshway sort of thing, and then I think everybody feels the way I do about polar bears.
Yeah.
They're so magnificent, and the thought that they're drowning because they can't get from one ice floe to another is too much for me. And so I also wanted to include the women with the water, the angel spirits, down here with the magical water inside the bowl. And this is more like an Acoma bowl, and it's down here too, which I don't think you can see, but the water's spilling out of it. Yeah,
we get to see it from here.
Okay, good. So, and then of course the water's spilling out of it, and I think that's self-evident what that is. And I wanted to include some other sort of more primordial ideas about water, so the jellyfish and the other odd creatures that we have in the ocean. This this is a dolphin jaw. So anyway, so that's that concept that I did there.
Alison, and can you talk to us about the process of creating these works? Because I see a lot of work in there. This is mixed media you had to create.
Yeah, this is taking me a very long time to create. The first ones that I did, and I was going to show that to you, were the Angel series, and of course, I had just started figuring out how to make, how to paint on the wood, how to carve the wood. I made the icon. They're called icons, and this was the first of the Angel series, and it also has that a front and the back sort of thing. Yeah, this was. I started working on these concepts before Christmas, and I started actually making them in early January, and it takes a very, very long time. It took me until February, and the way I begin is with sketches, and I like in particular to use contour line. I just feel like it's very expressive, and so all these start out as a contour drawing, oftentimes one that they have kind of a off balance look to them, and then I transfer them onto the wood like that, and then kind of redraw it with like charcoal or whatever. You got to be careful because I'm using ink, and the ink is very transparent. So and I did find out that I actually can make things go around wood by using bleach. So that was an awesome discovery. So then what I do is I start working on the background first to try to kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. But of course I have to, like with a watercolorist, I have to leave certain things untouched, you know, so that some of the wood comes through. Oh, and actually before I use the paint, I do carve in very slightly into the wood itself. So the first you just sort of see it, maybe like, I can kind of show you, this is not, you know, this one isn't really, it starts out like this, right?
Okay. Wow.
Right, and then it moves to, you know, more like this. And then I continue to work on it with the different inks. And there is a subtractive, like I said, I can use bleach, so there is a subtractive quality that you might not normally get in this kind of a thing, but that's been really fun. That's really helped me because it allows me to that wonderful thing about art where where the actual medium itself like makes suggestions to you, and so it becomes, the painting itself becomes part of the art making and the story, and
Yes.
so that's been really helpful. So that was the third one, and then after I had done these, I actually hired somebody to build the larger ones.
Okay. I see.
And so, yeah, so I hired a craftsman, Danny Gorup, who lives here, very good craftsman, and I drew what I wanted, and he and I went through this back and forth about what it was going to look like and how it was going to look, and he's actually building me several more for other series that I have in mind. I want to do one on birds, for instance. And the biggest part, the hardest part really was, for him, was to figure out how to put it where I wanted it, like in the middle of this pedestal. And it also was really challenging for him to understand the pedestal. It was hilarious because he kept thinking that I wanted something, a box to put this in, you know. But we finally got it, and now with the next ones, I wanted to be able to paint the backs as well, but with this here, I really didn't feel like that. I wanted to paint there with this on it, and so now what he's going to do is he's going to create a slot on the side of these, and then it will just, they come out like, they'll just be able to be put in to the slot. They'll stay in the slot, and we'll just compensate for the size so that these will still be on the same level, but there will be a piece inside of here, and that will allow me to work on
the backs. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, because I really want that, you know, those icons. If you go into any Roman Catholic church, or if you go to like one of my favorite places when I go to New York City that I always visit is the cloisters up the top, and you know, everything about the piece is decorated in some way. You know, there's very although maybe the most important imagery is in the inside. There's, you know, there's a preciousness, I guess. That's what it is. So I want to do that, and
I want to be there so I can see them close. Really beautiful.
I love that.
I love how you got those colors are vibrant, and I keep repeating it because it's wood, and you did a lot of painting to get that. I'm pretty sure the process there to get those colors so vibrant in that, you know,
yeah,
it's not a regular canvas.
No.
So
you have to. Yeah, I had to go through a lot of like experimentation to figure it out. And also, you know, I had never painted I painted on wood before, but not with inks. And
Right.
And the inks have a luminous quality to them that I just love, that I can layer them to, you know, really get the kind of color that I want. And then I also sometimes between layers I'll add like a fixative surface on it so that, you know, it won't blend each time necessarily.
Well, this is beautiful. Are you complete with the Circuit Water series? Is that complete now?
Yeah, this is complete now. And I had thought about painting on all the different sides and stuff, but I told you about the thing on the back. And also I really felt like when I got it to this point, I sort of felt like it really didn't need any more imagery, you know? It was like maybe too confusing. So if I were to go back into it in any way, I would probably just make carvings on the back and then just stain the wood. That would be the only other thing I might do.
What is coming out next? What are you working on next?
So I'm working on a couple of different things. What I've been doing is doing some small paintings. I normally would like I always do drawings in my sketchbook, and also I have taken to using the iPad for my sketchbook. And so I use, I forget the name of the program, but it's just a stylus to the front of the iPad. I can draw on that as well. I did this as first as a drawing, and then I started painting it in just enough to kind of get the idea of what I wanted. And then I took a picture of it and I transferred it into the computer, into the iPad. And then I worked more on it, and I have a complete version of it that's digital, so I can't show it to you right now. But I've been doing a lot of that as well, digital work, you know. And then eventually, I hope I would, sometimes I think that's enough, the digital work is enough, it really came out nicely. This one came out nicely. Some of them I only go to a certain point on the digital work so that I really have a sense of what I want, and I can then paint it larger. So my idea here, this is a Navajo, and she's listening to the bird because the Navajo and all of the indigenous people are very attuned to nature, and they have the stories that we need. And they're dying. The Navajo are dying off. I hope that doesn't happen during our time frame, because that would just be devastating. It's not like we haven't contributed to that as a people, you know, us white folks from Europe. So so he has on a respirator in the final picture.
Wow.
And then this is one that I just have taken to a certain point. Yeah, so it's I just paint whatever it is I'm thinking about, right? So we're all thinking about the pandemic and the risks that certain people are taking and stuff. So this is my health worker here taking a break, and there's going to be like she or he is going to be holding like a plant with like a sprouting flower, you know, something like that there. And you know, that's as far as I've gotten so far with this one. Here's another sketch that I did, and this is like more of an African person, like a mother with a child, and she's holding a large stone in her hand, like to, you know, like she'll do anything to protect that child kind of thing. I haven't really gotten the whole way with it, but this is the beginning drawing. Well, let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, this is a crazy one.
That's so beautiful.
So I had this idea that I might want to paint the earth spirits, you know, not like they, more like how they would be in my imagination or something. And so I started kind of creating some really funky looking earth spirits. And this one is, they're having a good time and pondering the idea, the benefits of human extinction, you know. So
Yeah,
I can get pretty dark as I get funny. um, and let's see. Here's another, you know, like this one, it didn't really get very far. It was a woman that was, I was concerned about the idea of the people giving, you know, having birth right now, the babies coming into the world right now. So she was, and I might go back to it. You can see I made notes to myself so that I can eventually remember what it was I was after and where I was going. And she's kind of becoming a tree here. That was sort of the idea with that. This one I did recently, what's going on in India, and that really bothers me. Also, you know, that now they have that terrible hurricane or whatever that's called, and so the mother is an angel and the child is like, you know, grabbing to get up, and that's as far as I've gotten with that. And then this one, I've done a lot of, like those angels that I did are about the refugee situation. And each of the settings that they're in, you know, there's barbed wire and it shows tents and things like that. And one of the hardest stories, I mean, I think for all of us, are not just the refugees, but the drownings that occur. And so this one is dedicated to the children and mothers and that end up, you know, drowning trying to get to another place.
Yeah.
So she's like, this is like a boat shape, and
That's incredible because you have been doing a lot. I
that's a
mean,
lot of work.
that's a lot of work. But you know what's, I always say the artists are here to document history and tell our story according to their sensibility. And this, you're an incredible example of that, really. Thanks so much, Alison, for opening the doors of your studio. This is really great. I think it's great for anyone that is watching to like dive into an artist's universe and see everything that's happening.
That's great. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much, Viviana.
Thank you. And well, I want to thank anybody that's watching out there. Stay tuned to the ArtTour International TV show. So thanks everyone. And don't forget, stay inspired.